let's get directly into this video after a quick shout out to the sponsors. As you guys know, Prime XBT is my exchange sponsor. I've been working with them for a while now. So if you want to support me, the best way to do that is by signing up to Prime with the link in the description, putting in code MAIN50, then depositing some money. You get up to a 7% bonus for a maximum of $7,000. So 100K deposit would get you 7 grand, 10K would get you 700 bucks, 1,000 would get you 70 bucks, etc. So if you want to support your boy, you like these videos and the stuff I'm putting out, that's the way to do it. So shout out to the Prime team, and let's get kind of just directly into the videos. Okay, so let's start with the super high time frame here. So the monthly chart has a very clear bias level, in my opinion. So if you've been following me from a long time, you should see a very key level here on the monthly. It's this, right? We've got this monthly breaker here. So we actually came very close to retesting it here on this pullback. Not quite. We front ran it just a little bit. But if you dial this breaker down to then the weekly, that's where we got that entry for this leg up here. But the monthly, I think this is a key area because effectively, as long as we're trading above this gray box, I think you assume higher prices on the monthly chart. Now, remember, this is the monthly chart. So a lot can happen in that time frame. We can have a lot of up and down, right? We have a monthly candle that shapes up like this one, where at the end of February, the end of March, it's a big green candle, but there's a long lower wick into here or something. So you have to keep that in mind. I'm not saying long now and put your stop way the fuck down here, but based on the monthly chart, this price action, right? Running this low, reclaiming that breakdown point, to me, makes me believe that the draw on price is still higher. That's just the monthly kind of view. Lots can happen, right? We're going to get more to the intraday charts here in a second. But in my opinion, as long as we're holding above this gray box, I think that any sort of major dip that occurs or anything like that is a reason to look for higher prices because there's not really any monthly resistance anywhere here, right? You have this high that we ran. So we've purged that high just barely, but I don't really have any sort of monthly resistance until way up here in the 30,000s. Okay, and that's a long way away. But as long as we stay above here, I think the most likely area for price to draw next is actually up here as opposed to down here. Now, if there's some stuff that changes here and we get some very clear signs of distribution, it doesn't mean I won't short, because if we have a bias of the monthly going up, you have to realize we can come all the way down to this breaker. That's a 20% pullback before going up again. I'm not going to not short because I think the monthly can trade higher. I'm just saying, based on the monthly, I do think this is the most likely draw on price in terms of high time frame direction. So if you go down now to the weekly, we have a little bit more information here. I like this weekly fair value gap right here, and I've talked about this. I've posted this level on Twitter, and then you can refine this breaker down to right here. And this is kind of the high time frame chart I'm primarily operating on right now. We have our very clear run of the lows, the reclaim. Here's a retest, and we're pushing right back up to the highs. To me, this remains the target based on the weekly chart. Can we dip first? Can we flush? Can we run this low? Lots can happen before going back up here. But I still do believe, just like on the monthly, I think the draw is still higher for price. I think there's still reason to bet on further upside for crypto. I personally like this kind of 27 to 29K area as the potential, I don't know if it's a top, but the potential area where we might see the next major retracement occur from. Now, we've had a long weekend. It's Monday, but it's President's Day in the US, so the traditional markets aren't really doing much. So it will be interesting to see what happens when the burgers come online tomorrow and start aping. But again, the weekly, just like the monthly, I still think the likely draw on price is higher. So if you watched the last stream, we were trading this candle 2 streams ago. We were here. We had this level marked out. Once we had the SFP, I think it was here, I had this as a target, and then I had this as a move back up to 25.2. So we'll get into that on a little bit of the lower time frame. But again, still think that we draw higher overall based on the weekly chart. Like looking at this chart right now, this looks bullish. I don't know why you would think that this is bearish. The one kind of bearish caveat is this weekly SFP here. So we have a weekly SFP here. This was an SFP as well. Looks very tight, but that is an SFP as well. So we swing failed this intermediate term high, and then we swing failed the range high. So this is the range high that we've been watching for a while. We just barely peaked over, sold back off, and we actually closed below both. So technically, my system fires a short signal here based on the SFPs. And then you also had a 12-hour SFP that came in here. The risk on your short is supposed to be here effectively, and we target probably this low first and then this low. That's the bearish possibility that I see based on those swing fails. We've now had an H1 SFP, so you can see we're struggling, and that's why the name of this video is 25K forever, right? Like, we're struggling at this 25K zone, very obviously. I generally don't like when my return to entry, right? So when I'm looking to short, because we got something like this, I want to short this retest. What we're looking to form here. I don't love when this takes out a low and looks like a liquidity grab that wants to push price higher. And that's what we got here. This run, this just looks like a very clear retest of that H4 demand, cleared out all those lows. That looks like it wants to trade higher. So I don't love how it came back to the level. So I didn't blindly short it. Whereas normally on this type of a setup, if I was a little more confident in it, as soon as we had this breakdown, I'm starting to short from here all the way up with my stop above the high here. That short is still valid, and I would target this low. The trade is there, but I just don't feel as confident in it. I do want to see kind of weakness form up in this area. You're kind of seeing that here with that run. But again, this has just been, it's been kind of just like low volume liquidity runs on either side of the market since we got up into this range, right? Like run out a high, then run lower, come up, run lower, sweep out all of these highs here, sweep this low here, back up to the high, sweep. So it's just kind of been like ping-ponging back and forth. And it's hard to determine yet if this is distribution. I could look on the lower time frame and say, okay, we've got, a run here. If we maybe get, a breakdown and then another run up here, that's probably a better trigger than just shorting right here, giving that kind of double confirmation. Tough to say. It's definitely a sticky spot here. My system is telling me to short, like swing short, but I feel like we're on the precipice of either a very large correction. So I'm talking like running this low here, huge correction, or we're about to go parabolic for another leg. So trying to determine which one is which obviously is difficult, and it's supposed to be. Shorting the top, right? Or longing the breakout is not supposed to be easy. In general, there's going to be a bunch of attempts made to shake you out of whatever the position you may be in. If you're trying to short, it's going to look like it's going to pump a whole bunch before it actually sells off. And if you're going to long, it's going to make you think it's about to dump a whole bunch of times and sell off before it actually pumps. It's really hard to follow your system sometimes when you get kind of this feeling that the whole market is just kind of on dumb mode, right? It's like just buy every dip mode, because basically every single dip since the bottom here, anytime we've dipped, you basically make money if you just green button smash. And like I said, shorting's been very hard, V-bottoming everything. And in general, shorting crypto is negative EV, right? Because how low can it go? To zero? Sure, but like there's technically unlimited upside. So shorting in general is whack. But my system is giving me that short trigger here. So I'm going to continue to watch. I don't know if I want to enter a trade today or if I want to wait for the New York Open tomorrow, or just see how stocks start moving when the volume comes back in the traditional markets. I'm going to wait and see. It's a tricky spot, like trying to justify longing here. I think if you long this dip, sure, you're comfy, but longing here, I don't know about that. I think you got to wait and see. You either got to wait, maybe we get another run of this high and then a sell-off. That could be a short trigger. Could just roll from here, or we could consolidate here and break out. Either way, I think the trade will be more obvious. Like I think you want to see us start closing above here if you want to break out long, right? If we start trading up here and closing, that's when you look for your long, I think, for the next leg. Who cares if you missed this part of the leg if you're able to catch this part? And for shorting here, yeah, I think you can short here. Your risk is defined probably at this high, but that's pretty, you're shorting something that's been super strong lately. So there's always that, risk that this just continues to be on, dumb rampage mode and just go up. I do think if there's any sort of major dip, it's for buying. So if we do get a dip below here, I do think that's a dip to buy. And even if we get a dip below here, would be something like that. So another run of the high maybe, and then run this low because everyone thinks that that was it. They were super comfy. That seems like a pretty good spot to run before higher prices, right? Everyone, if we get down here, people are going to be shorting like crazy. So in a lot of words, I'm saying, I don't really know. I'm waiting and seeing. I want to see a little bit more price action before I jump in and make a decision and put some money on the line. I have some flashes of, not flashes, I have legit short triggers going off on my system here. So if we now break and close below here, I think I would have to take the short. Have to. But yeah, I gotta wait and see. I need a little bit more before I make a decision. I'm still leaning towards more upside though, overall. Regardless of what happens here short term, I still think we trade up to here. And then I think this is really the key area for the entire chart, right? Like if you just look at this here, this is your point of breakdown, right? This was our floor at 30,000 here. Double bubble came down. Soon as we got below there, we puked 50%. So this is still technically a bearish retest. If we get up to this area, this can still very well reject and just be a bearish retest. We can also trade above it, back below. But my mindset is that this is a bearish retest. And I think of this, for a couple of reasons. One, this is the point of breakdown, right? The origin of the move down. So this is where you look for a potential lower high to form up in this kind of near 30K region. This would still be a lower high and a lower low, even if we came all the way up here. So this could go all the way up to 30, still be a bearish retest, make new lows. So it's hard to call the bottom is in until I think we convincingly reclaim 30K, reclaim this breakdown area, because then it becomes easy, right? If we start trading above here, pretty confident that that is the bottom and that's your risk. Exactly the same as this. Once we reclaim this area, there was your risk and you're just targeting upside, right? Otherwise, I do think, if we dip below here, I think that's probably a dip you buy if we get some sort of nice reaction, right? So if we get a nice reaction below here, I think this is a dip you buy for a run back up. If we don't get a reaction here, I'm targeting this area. And again, this would be, I would look to long down here, at least for a bounce. Because if we get below this gray box, like if we get below this weekly breaker, we're going here, in my opinion, right? So anything back into here, still good in my opinion. But if we get below here, then yikes. I think new lows for sure. And that was the top. And this was just a bear market rally, a sick one, but that was that. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum has not run its equivalent high. So if you go look at Bitcoin here, this high was placed in August. August 15th is when we made this high that we just now in February ran. Ethereum has not run its equivalent high. How would I know that Ethereum is the weaker asset other than being like, okay, well, Bitcoin's already run this high, Ethereum hasn't. So maybe Ethereum's lagging, or is Ethereum just straight up weaker? And we have a chart for that, right? And it's this one. So if you look since the 8th of August, or the 15th of August, sorry. So this is the 15th of August, and look at Ethereum BTC since then. If you've been long Ethereum rather than Bitcoin, you're underperforming. There's a period where you were overperforming, but for the most part, you're underperforming. And so that's that visualization where Bitcoin is trading here and Ethereum is trading here. So that high is still untapped. So that is represented in this chart. So if you're always trying to determine, and I have videos on this if you guys want to know more, you're always trying to determine what is going to be the higher beta play. You always want to be like, how do I catch that altcoin that outperforms all the other ones? Like we had Phil last week, I think, that went nuts. Basically, if it's on my watch list, it's going to go ham. So yeah, there's narratives and there's things like that, but you can also just do straight up cross-market analysis. Compare the altcoin that you want to long to Bitcoin, compare it to Ethereum. And if you want to long an altcoin, it has to be ideally in an uptrend versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, or making bullish market structure. Because if it's not, it's likely underperforming that underlying asset. So why bother? Why long an altcoin if the alt BTC chart is in a downtrend? Like let's look at Link, for example. Here's a perfect example, right? Look at Link BTC during the last bear market. Link BTC is going up the entire time while Bitcoin was trading sideways and down. So Link was the stronger of the two assets. So if you were trying to long, right, there was a period of time where longing Link was extremely profitable relative to Bitcoin. Let's make a third chart. Okay, so now we can see all three charts next to each other. Okay, so Link BTC, look at where Link is trading relative to Bitcoin, right? So from the move from the bottom to this peak on Link was significantly more than the equivalent move on Bitcoin. And that's because Link BTC was in an uptrend, right? So now Link, sorry, stinky Linky Marines, but this has been massively underperforming Bitcoin for ages now. If you're like super keen on trading altcoins and you're trying to catch rotations and what coins are going to be the higher beta plays and are going to move more, you want to be looking at the chart versus Bitcoin. You definitely want to be doing this kind of cross-market analysis if you are an altcoin trader, right? You want to be looking at the comparables and make sure that your coin is outperforming just Bitcoin or Ethereum itself. So back to Ethereum. Ethereum's been underperforming Bitcoin for the last handful of months. Like I said, we still haven't run this high on Ethereum. So we are similar to Bitcoin in that we've got kind of technically it's an SFP on this chart at least, trading above it now. But just like on Bitcoin, where I think the obvious target is above price, I think the obvious target on Ethereum is here at 2K. Like this seems like the most likely K. We just ran out all of these weekly lows here. And this one, to me, this seems like the next obvious high time frame target. This would be your kind of intermediate term target here at 1800, but then 2K, I think, is where this would potentially go to next. Shut the fuck up. So I still think 2K is in the cards for Ethereum. Now, can we dip below here first? That would be kind of equivalent with Bitcoin running that 20K low here. 21K low, right? Would be a run below here on Ethereum. Zooming into the 12-hour, we do have some weakness showing up at this high, right? But nothing yet to, I think, concern yourself with. I think if we start getting some market structure breaks on the lower time frame, yeah, if we start getting some MSBs, kind of already got one, but if we start getting some market structure breaks here on the low time frame, then sure, this could be the clue that this is going to pull back and maybe we come back into here. This is actually quite a nice level right here, right? So this would be, let's talk relative to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin trades back below, to 23K, Ethereum is trading below these lows into here, okay? If Bitcoin really pulls back and it trades below that 21.5 low, that's the equivalent low on Ethereum here. Of the two, Bitcoin still is stronger, but Ethereum BTC is into support here. So this is an interesting area, I think, for Ethereum BTC, where if we pump here, we might see that flip happen where Ethereum now starts outperforming Bitcoin. And that can go in either direction, remember, as well, right? If this is in an uptrend, but both charts are going down, that just means Bitcoin's going down more, right? It's weaker of the two. But this is an interesting place for Ethereum BTC. We are into support. We have this high time frame mid-range here and this weekly order block. So below here, yikes. But I like to think that this area at least provides a little bit more of a bounce than just this. So we'll have to wait and see. But interesting area here for FBTC. And if the whole market is going to break up, so let's assume that we are about to put in a God candle to 30K on Bitcoin. I would be betting that this bounces here and that Ethereum is the better long. That would be the analysis I would do based on, okay, if I think both ETH and Bitcoin are going to go higher, looking at ETH BTC being at support, I think ETH becomes the better long, because if that bullish buy pressure comes in on those two and this pumps, Ethereum's going to outperform to the upside, right? And that would also line up with Bitcoin going to 30K, 10, 12, maybe 15%, whereas Ethereum going to just to that high is almost 20%. So that would kind of line up with that logic as well, where if we get bullish and we're going to break out, FBTC is at support. I think F becomes the better long at that point. Okay, let's take a quick look at traditional markets here before I wrap up. So this is going to come into effect tomorrow, right? We're going to see the market start moving. We did take out a weekly high and we have some weekly demand that is formed here. So we could see a dip to start the week on equities. Yeah, we have this little 12-hour sweep here. That could be it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a deeper pullback first. But But ultimately, I would like to see us trade up to 4,300. That would be the goal. That would lead to Bitcoin breaking out, trading higher, Ethereum trading higher, and all of us continuing to make money smashing the green button. The dollar, I still think trades higher. That's the risk here. Yeah, okay, crypto's gone up with the dollar going up. Oh, it's fucking over. Crypto's been getting smoked when the dollar was going up. So just because it's not a one-to-one correlation here, we can't forget the correlation that occurred this entire time. Or the inverse correlation, right? The other way where crypto's been pumping for the last few months. Well, what's the dollar been doing? Selling off super hard. But ran this low into this block, pushed up, made a higher high. Now we've got fresh 12-hour demand here. Okay, so this is what you want to be careful on with the dollar this week, is if this holds its support, I think there's a good chance this still trades up to 105, 106. And what could that mean for crypto? It's yet to be seen. Why are you promoting unsophisticated investments to retailers for nano caps, no liquidity, and unsavory investors? This guy is on crack. I don't know if I understand that question. Jesus Christ, what a twat. Yeah, this is a new copy pasta. We love this. This is great. Someone posted a picture of me being like, oh, poor Maine has cancer. He's on Make-A-Wish. And I think that's why John Cena followed me. You are a pretender, not trading real coin, but altcoin nano cap scam ? Is that a statement or a question? Either way, go fuck yourself. Who else do you respect in the CT trading sphere? No one. I'm obviously the best. I'm the greatest. Do you have hair? No. I don't give a fuck. I just want to blast shit with my wand. You like that, don't you, you sick fuck? Unsophisticated, just using nano caps to promote exit. What are you talking about? I'm not promoting anything, you fucking twat. Stop being such a fucking dumbass, dude. Nobody cares what you're saying. Jesus Christ. So this guy says if we don't go higher, we're going lower. That's what he's saying. And I tend to agree. Your sentences suck. For someone who talks so much about sophistication, you can't spell because I'm retarded, obviously. It's very sad. Sophisticated in what sense? Sophisticated in I drink with my fucking pinky up? Jesus Christ, man. This copy pasta is amazing. You don't know anything about cryptography. You can't be trading crypto. And I don't know what a BLS signature is. I only know what a BLT is. Bacon, lettuce, tomato. I am absolutely not a sophisticated investor. Like, I'm fucking gambling, baby. I'm an addict. Jesus Christ. The only person not sophisticated here is you, my guy. Unsavory investors draw lines and look at chart. Bro, nano cap. Unsavory investors. There's lack of liquidity. What are you talking about? You have a trading channel, but no sophistication or self-awareness. You're so fucking dumb. Why are you watching then? Go do something else, bro. You're looking for value investing. Get the fuck out of crypto and don't follow me. Jesus Christ.